Okay, well, you people on the channel have been asking for updates on the truck, how everything's going, and I'm building a deck over here, so I've been kind of busy, but the truck's been doing real well, hanging in there, no problems. I think the rings seated a little bit. Seems like oil consumption is down to more reasonable levels, given you know the motor and everything, the rebuild and stuff. But truck's been running really well, and been real pleased with it. Let me open the hood here. Somebody on the channel recently asked for maybe a video on how I hooked up some of my gauges, so you can kind of see what I've got going here. I've got some other videos showing the gauges, so I won't go through them too much, but you know, water temperature gauge coming, this is the water returning from the radiator. This is the outside air temperature coming into the inlet of the motor. This is a vacuum gauge, so I can kind of monitor the health of the rings and so forth. Down here, you can kind of see these are AM gauges. The one on the left is my oil temp off the galley. The one in the middle is the wideband oxygen sensor, so I can kind of make sure that the ECU is keeping the air-fuel ratio correct. And that's, if you see my other videos, that's programmed in Lambda, so I can kind of see 1.0 is stoichiometric, and then anything higher is rich, anything lower is anything higher than 1.0 is lean, anything lower is rich. And then over there I've got a fuel pressure gauge off the back of the fuel rail kind of area, or I guess it's technically off the back of the fuel filter if I remember correctly. So and then I've got over here I've got an old airplane suction gauge that I use to monitor the crankcase vacuum in real time as I drive. So that's pretty handy. And for anyone, I don't have my locker in, so it's just future kind of hopes and dreams. I do have my clutch start working though. And then these are this is my driving light cancel switch on and off, and then this is the override for the electric radiator fan. So, and then this is an SR5 dash. So that's kind of all the gauges I have hooked up. And somebody had asked kind of if I could show how those were hooked up. So let's go, and I'll kind of point out how I plumbed and wired these things for that person who was asking, and maybe other people will find it kind of interesting too. I'm going to try to do this all in one take, so let's go over here and open the hood. Kind of a sunny day, so I might get some shadows, but let me see if I can kind of do this all one-handed. So first off, if you look, you can see here where this is the air inlet to the air box. You can see in here there. Let me see if I can get on camera here. There's a little kind of deal right there, and that's just the air temperature sensor, but I have it kind of by the, you can see this is the air inlet, so I have it kind of by the air inlet, and that tells me the outside air temperature when I'm driving. Now when I come to a stop, the heat emanating from the radiator kind of causes the temperature to go super high, so it's not a perfect location, but it gets the job done. And then as far as the water returning from the radiator, you can kind of see right here I've got a capillary, and that capillary runs along here to the VDO gauge. So that's actually a mechanical kind of setup. And you can see I just run it in through the firewall. Run in through the firewall over here. It kind of snakes up here, over here, and then you can see it kind of runs in next to my speedometer cable, and then snakes its way in. So that was real fun to get in there. Let me get underneath the truck and I can kind of show you. I welded in a bung on that crossover pipe. So here's the bottom of the radiator hose coming out right here, and then here's that crossover pipe that loops up, and you can see what I did was I welded in a bung right here, and then that's the end of the VDO water temperature sending oil sending unit, I guess you would say. And like I say, it's a capillary system, so it's actually technically a mechanical gauge, not electric. And then while we're down here, I can kind of try to get over and show you where the oil, I think I can kind of get in here. It's a little difficult to see. Actually, maybe I can kind of, it's kind of, see where if you see where the motor mount is, you can kind of peek up in there and you can see that's the oil temperature sending unit off the oil galley. So that sends signal to the temperature gauge for the oil in the motor. Let me see if I can kind of show it also from the top side. It's kind of, I kind of have it hidden in there. I don't know if I can really get it on camera real easy, but you can kind of, I think you can kind of see it's a brass fitting. I don't know if you can see it tucked down in there or not. Let me see if I can get this angle here. There it is. It's got the little fittings. So that goes into a threaded pipe hole on the block, and that was kind of tricky to get in there too and get the clearances, but that is measuring the oil temperature. Now, if you go back here and we go back to where the fuel filter is, it's a little difficult to see, but maybe I can zoom in a little bit here. Right off the back there, that's the sending unit for the fuel pressure. And like I said, it's a little tricky to see back there, but it's off the banjo bolt, or for the, let me see if I can maybe get down here a little bit and see. Yeah, you kind of, there you go. So see how it's a little bit difficult to get in here, but you can kind of see how that's, I believe that's the black on the right is the oil, the fuel filter, and the fitting has a banjo bolt kind of affair. And I can't remember if I bought a pre-drilled banjo bolt off of Summit Racing or if I made my own on the drill press or something, but you can kind of see I have the AEM fitting off the back of that. So fuel goes into the fuel filter, and you can see it's kind of coming, or fuel comes out of the fuel filter and pressurizes against that sending unit for the fuel pressure gauge. So it's a little bit kind of tucked in back there, but that shows you how that's set up. Now, as far as the crankcase vacuum for the motor in general, I'm running a PCV, positive crankcase ventilation valve, that is two-stage adjustable, so I get more kind of more vacuum, and I can adjust how strong it pulls the vacuum in conjunction with the oil catch can stuff. So, and I just have it sit up here so I can have a little more filtration and get this away from kind of the oil in the motor. But this has been proven to be really great. It's far superior when it comes to evacuating the crankcase than just the standard stock kind of stuff you see with the little shaky stuff inside. So this one has a two-stage, so you can kind of have constant crankcase ventilation, and it has it comes with a diagnostic kind of port on it. So I just leave the diagnostic port connected full time, and then this little 4mm vacuum hose runs into the cab, and I run it over to that little airplane gauge. So the only other thing really is the wideband O2 controller. And let me crawl under the truck here as best I can and see if I can kind of show that. So it's welded in, obviously, to the exhaust system. Let me see if I can kind of turn the camera here a little bit. So if you look, I gotta kind of shimmy under here. But if you look, there's the header up that away. Let me see if I can kind of see where we're at. So there's the header going up to the motor, and if you have to excuse my janky kind of ratchetness here, but that's a future project. But here is the O2 sensor stuff. So this is the factory, that's the factory upstream sensor, and then down there is the downstream sensor right there. And then this one here is the wideband controller. So you can see how it's kind of all packaged up in there. And it goes up here, a little bit difficult to see, but it bundles here and it goes in. I believe I ran it in the hole where I removed my parking brake. So, and you can see I made my own little heat shield to protect it. So all the connectors and wires are bundled up and they go in there. So that kind of shows how I routed some of the gauges and so forth for the truck. I think that's kind of everything. I'll get out from under here and see. Okay. Oh, it would be nice to have a lift in my garage, I tell you. So that kind of shows you. That kind of shows you how everything is kind of packaged up there. So we got the vacuum, crankcase vacuum, which is super handy. You can kind of make sure everything's running okay. All this stuff is just SR5. There's plenty of videos that show how that's working. And then we covered the water temperature coming back from the radiator with that bung, the little oxygen sensor. The vacuum gauge is just plumbed into a T off the upper intake plenum. The oil temp there is the galley. Is the oil galley kind of by the motor mount with that little fitting in there, and those sending units come with the gauges. So these are gauges I just bought off Amazon or Summit Racing, I think. The wideband controller, like I say, that's the one on the exhaust pipe there downstream from the header, and then the fuel pressure, which is real handy to see your fuel pressure. It's plumbed in there as I showed off the back side of that little banjo fitting, and I think I just drilled out the top of that banjo bolt and retapped it for, you know, like 1/8 27 national pipe thread, as I recall. So, and then just put it all in there and had to run the wires. You know, a lot of the wires run up basically kind of over here and then through the firewall, or they run, you know, kind of this direction. You can kind of see some of the stuff. They run this direction and you know, go through the firewall and behind the carpet. I mean, I'm not trying to build a show car, so I don't really care too much. Like, just like, for example, you know, my kick panel is always open over there, and the fuse box is there. I just put this panel on to cover up the ECU because my girlfriend Elaine, you know, I want her side of the truck to be a little bit more put together, but me myself, I don't really care either way. So, and then so that's kind of where things stand. I think that's pretty much the latest. Haven't really, you know, truck's pretty much done for now. I'm focused on some other projects. But yeah, the truck's been running really great. Gets, you know, between 18 and 19 miles per gallon around town. Doesn't seem to burn much oil anymore. On highway trips, you know, usually get anywhere between 23 and 25, 26 miles per gallon. So the little 22 RE is still doing its thing. Past 450,000 miles just a little while ago. So we're coming up on, you know, 500,000 miles on this guy. But everything else is good. Wheels are good, tires are good. Still got the 4-wheel disc brake. Willwood stuff is really great. And these Kumho tires that I'm running are just phenomenal. Really great wear. I think that's about it. Oh, and then you probably saw the other video. Switched over to the titanium hardware for the headlights. Real happy about that. I think I have a video up on that. So yeah, all in all, loving the truck. So that's the latest on the pickup, 1990 Toyota pickup, 2-wheel drive. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, the only other thing was I thought I had a rear main seal leak, but it turned out that I just had, when I converted over to the 2-wheel drive oil pan, the RTV sealant didn't kind of catch in the back, and I had to go clean that up. But I was thinking I had either a leak on the gearbox or the rear main seal, but turns out that it was okay. Oh, speaking of girlfriends, here's Elaine. Hey, honey. I'm making a video for the channel. You want to say hi to my subscribers? Hi. All right, lunch is here. Truck's doing fine for everyone asking on the channel. I will be trying to do some more videos soon, and I know I still got to finish that part 2 of the best mods, but that'll be coming down the road. So, all right, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to use the comment section below.